welcome to our groups and our new series called
Be Nice.
Be Nice.
Love it. 40 days of radical kindness.
Yeah, so as we're talking about kindness here, and we're in the season of Lent too.
True.
So how do kindness and Lent, how do these go together?
Yeah. So as we were planning and praying about this particular season, part of the practice of Lent is about pausing and reflecting and remembering what is most important. Really, allowing it to be a season of maybe stopping old habits, giving something up, and creating new habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of one of our new practices. Even like just a rhythm of devotion, a rhythm of taking time to reflect and remember who we are as followers of Jesus and why it's so important. And so we thought, a lot of times it focuses on the giving up and not so much about what to do.
Yeah.
And so acts of kindness, radical kindness, this, especially we'll get in a minute here into the Colossians passage, but this real focus on taking up a new rhythm in our lives and paying attention to that.
Yeah. And I love that opportunity just to ask, am I kind? Like, really?
Yeah.
And I think we all have an opportunity to grow through this during the season of Lent.
Yes.
So maybe give us some ideas of where have you seen people extend radical kindness to you, and what impact did it have on your life?
Well, even as recent as like the last 2 weeks, one of the things in my life and the life that at our family, my dad is on hospice, and so we are walking with him and my mom through this season. And then I had family coming in because we'll have family coming in to see him and to be with him in this last part of his life. And I actually had somebody offer to bring us a meal on the night. Just kind of, there was a random act, awesome. Hearing, what we were going through, and just said, can we bring a meal to you guys, for you and for the extended family that are coming in? And that was a really beautiful act of kindness that meant so much to us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, I've kind of similar season of life with parents and stuff, but I know my dad's been in the hospital a few times over the last several months, and having folks like come up to me and saying, how is your dad? And not just like, oh, how's your dad? We're praying for you, but actually like face to face. I really want to know the answer to that. Yeah. And the act of just listening to my story and what we're going through
and being present, and
helps me to know like you actually are praying. You're not just like giving lip service to it. And so I think that has been something that has made an impact on my life.
Sure. Yeah. So good.
All right. So we're going to be getting into this passage in Colossians, talking about being clothed in kindness. We're going to pick up in verse 8, but there's maybe some things that you wanted to share.
Yeah. If we're going to be looking at Colossians chapter 3, actually a big chunk of it. And in the very beginning of this chapter, I love this. It says in verse 1, it says, since you have been raised to new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven, where Christ sits in the place of honor at God's right hand. But even that first part, to set your sights on the realities of heaven, man, that packs a punch, I feel like. And what we'll get into here is like, so what are the realities of heaven? What does it mean to do that? And so as we dive into clothing ourselves with righteousness or with kindness, it means that we might be taking something off to put that on, right? Yeah. And we'll get into that here as well.
Yeah, some really cool stuff. So let's get into it. Colossians chapter 3, verses 8 through 14 says, but now is the time to get rid of anger, rage, malicious behavior, slander, and dirty language. Don't lie to each other, for you have stripped off your old sinful nature and all its wicked deeds. Put on your new nature and be renewed as you learn to know your Creator and become like Him. In this new life, it doesn't matter if you are a Jew, a Gentile, circumcised, uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave, or free. Christ is all that matters, and He lives in all of us. Since God chose you to be the holy people He loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you. You must also forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And that, just living that out could make a huge difference. In our world. It's
so good. I mean, because Paul, in writing here, clearly he goes into detail about these, and what I was talking about in my sermon, even like what is life taking and what is life giving, right? And so that first part, really, what he names there is it's destructive behavior. It's destructive actions. It is self-centered. It destroys relationships. You know, if you were to really, one example I was reading in talking about this particular passage. This author, he wrote, he's like, if you had two towns and one town was all about that first part, the things that, you know, that Paul describes as to put off, and you had a town that was full of all the things that he says to put on, which town would you like to live in? Right?
I'll take the second one.
Right. And it's so true. And it's so right. And so I love this, where not only are we supposed to take it off, but we're supposed to put on this clothing ourselves with tenderhearted mercy, right? And I think there in verse 12, there's a reason Paul writes that in the order that he does, right? We're talking about kindness, but the truth is the kind of kindness that we're talking about is so much deeper than, and let me just say, I think practicing kindness, whether you're a follower of Jesus or not, is always a good idea. I think you can never go wrong with being kind. But the kindness that we're talking about here is a spiritual kindness that should be an outflow of our new life in Jesus, right? The old life is all that other stuff, right? Now he's saying, your new life needs to look like this. This is what needs to be flowing out of your life. And so that tenderhearted mercy is first, because I believe out of that tenderhearted mercy comes the kind of kindness that actually is healing, that is actually brings about change, that has an impact, not on the lives that we come in contact with, but on us as well.
Yeah. And I think overall, like, nobody wants to be a jerk. Like,
they shouldn't. They shouldn't. Right.
We all want to be kind. And I think over this journey that we're going to be taking with Lent, I think we're going to receive from God, at least that's what I'm hoping for in my life, is receiving some checks in my spirit where maybe, hey, I'm not quite acting with the attitude, actions, words, behaviors that Christ would have me to, so that I can be more kind. I am always so inspired by those people that are just walk around with kindness, and I want more of that in my own life. And so it may be a little bit of a painful journey as we journey this together, but it's going to be so worth it.
You cannot forget also the first part of 12, where it says, since God chose you, like, this is all first and foremost a result of recognizing the tenderhearted mercy, the kindness, the humility that God, and ultimately the love God has shown us. Right.
Well, we'll be looking forward to going through this together. A question that you guys will have an opportunity to talk about in your group is, how can we intentionally, I think it takes intentionality, to practice kindness in our daily interactions with others. And we have created tools for you to be able to grow in this. We really encourage you to text the word, all one word, be nice, to our lovely number 704-686 8753.
I have memorized that now.
I'm not there yet. But we'll have that on the screen for you. If you text the word be nice, what you'll receive each day around 9 or 10 o'clock, depending on the day, is just a daily prompt that encourages either with a prayer, a way to celebrate, or an actual way that you can take action to be intentional about growing in kindness. We're going to grow a lot through this series. I'm really excited.
I am looking forward to hearing the stories, to watching this be a life-changing experience for people. I really believe that. I believe that the kind of kindness that we're talking about here is something that will be a result of change and bring change in our lives.
We'll have a great group and be a church that's known for love and kindness.
Thank you. Be nice.